We'll explore fascinating sights, discover amazing food, and make new friends from near and far. Your radio is the only passport you'll need. Join us for Travel with Rick Steves, Saturday afternoons at 1 on KSJE.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, here to meet your urgent and emergent medical needs, whether they are COVID-19 related or not. Medical emergencies happen when you least expect them. Whether it's a stroke, heart attack, illness, or injury, San Juan Regional Medical Center's caregivers are here to provide care to you and your loved ones. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Friday morning, July 24th. Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Micklin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE, 90.9 FM over the air here in San Juan County, 103.3 FM if you're listening in Durango, Colorado. And, of course, you can listen anywhere from our website at ksje.com. Welcome also to our viewers who are watching this visual radio program streaming live to the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel. We're glad that you're with us this morning, everybody. Coming up, our topic is the Guardian Initiatives. It's a local organization, and it's going to be a team of 4 people who are going to be rowing across the Atlantic Ocean in 2022. That's right, I said rowing across the Atlantic Ocean, and we'll find out why they're going to be doing that coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. And then, of course, next hour, Mick Hess will take us roving with the arts. It is music from Broadway today, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Flower Drum Song. Selections from that coming up at 9:06 on KSJE today. At noon, of course, it's the Cop Shop with the Farmington Police Department. Chief Hebby's going to be in, also Nicole Brown, Public Information Officer. They'll be talking about current issues facing the police department. Also a little bit of news about our roundabouts in downtown Farmington. That and more coming up this morning at 12:06 on KSJE. Then at 12:30, our storytelling program that we produce in cooperation with the Farmington Public Library, Cuentos, Hana, and Tales. Some great stories for all ages coming up today at 12:30 on KSJE. And don't forget, of course, you can also connect with us on Twitter and Instagram in addition to Facebook and YouTube. And let's talk about the weather for a moment. Outside right now, mostly cloudy skies. That's the forecast for today. Some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast and cooler weather. 78 for a high in Farmington today, 62 overnight, 78 again tomorrow. 82 on Sunday, 84 on Monday, back down to 82 on Tuesday, maybe near 90 on Wednesday. But again, that chance of a shower or thunderstorm in the forecast for the next several days might be that monsoon moisture pattern moving into the area. So we'll see if that happens. Let's take a look outside right now. A few moments ago in Farmington at San Juan College, our cloud cover, scattered showers throughout the region. And again, our temperature right now is about 63 degrees in San Juan County. Well, let me turn to my guests who are here with me this morning to talk about Guardian Initiatives. Jarrod Slindee is here. Good morning, and thanks for coming in this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Good to have you here. Matt Basinger is also here this morning, a member of the team. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Scott. Thanks for having us.
You bet. Thank you both for coming in. You are 2 of what will be 4 team members as part of this group, and as I mentioned, you all are planning to row across the Atlantic Ocean in about 2.5 years' time. And so, Jarrod, let me start with you about asking why is the question.
Well, there's a lot of different reasons for us, but primarily, we just want to bring a lot of awareness to our first responders here.
That's the reason you're doing it, right? You're raising money for help for first responders, and so that's an important component of this conversation. And so this is one way to do it, and this is a race that happens every year.
Right.
We were talking before we came on the air this morning, and these teams of people, some just one person, up to 4, like yours, row from across the ocean, basically from Africa to Antigua. You were talking about, right?
Right. Yep. It's it's right off the west coast of Africa, 3,000 miles across west to Antigua.
And so one of your team members who's not here this morning, it was kind of his idea, right, to do this. And he is kind of an adventurer, it sounds like, as someone who has climbed Mount Everest and done some other things.
So Mark, captain at the sheriff's office about 10 years ago, he read about this in a book. It's kind of stuck with him over the years. He couldn't do it at that time, and So as the years passed, it kind of stuck with him, and he approached me about it, and from there we've been started planning this whole thing.
There you go. And so people might think, gosh, they're 2.5 years out. This seems early to be starting something like this. But you are hoping to raise about $300,000, most of which would go to help these first responders, right?
Right. Yeah, we purposely set it out that far. We wanted to make a large impact on our local community here, and we have a lot of money we want to raise, but I think we can get it done.
And so, as Mark was talking to you about this idea, you thought, sign me up?
Yeah, kind of.
Right.
We were having lunch one day at the sheriff's office, and he had mentioned it to me, and my initial thought was, one, knowing Mark and his Everest, expeditions, thinking, wow, that's pretty crazy, but thinking that's not for me. There's not something I can do. Kind of went home that night, kind of dwelled on it, did some research, got a little upset with myself that I just kind of wrote it off, and went back to him a couple days later and said, I think we need to do this. So, and that's kind of how the whole thing started.
Nice, very good. And then Matt Batzinger, again, you joined the team here, and tell me a little bit about what got you interested in maybe signing up and being a part of this group to do this.
Well, I first heard about it. They were at a commissioner's meeting, which I happened to be at, and they did their presentation, and I saw it. And number one, it's a great cause. I think we definitely, as a nation, need to show support to all of our first responders, and that's what initially drug me in. The challenge part of it, there's that aspect of it too. It's a pretty awesome challenge.
Right, and you've had some experience too. You were talking to me about you're a veteran, of course. Thank you for your service, and so this was something that you thought you could give back to for these first responders.
Right.
By raising money,
yeah.
And so, Jarrod, you were, again, looking to raise about $300,000. This is a local organization, and so the idea being this will help local first responders. Is that the idea?
Yep, absolutely. So the money we raise is going to impact our community locally in the Four Corners, whether that be San Juan County, La Plata County, Montezuma County. But, so the money raised will stay here.
That's great, and again, because of that, folks can sign up and they can donate, or you're looking for sponsors for your trip as well, right?
Yeah.
From businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking for business sponsors. We're looking for title sponsors. Our boat that will be rowing across the ocean is basically a big floating billboard, really, and so we'd love to have a title sponsor and get their logo on there and show everybody who supports us. So
right. I want to ask you a little bit about the boat, because it is similar to a boat we're showing on the screen right now from another team. This is one in Colorado who've been giving you guys a lot of advice, I think, maybe, and some help.
Yep, you're exactly right. This is Fight or Die. They're out of Castle Rock, Colorado. They're a team of veterans rowing for veteran mental wellness, and they've been doing it for a couple of years. We met them a couple of years back, and they've been just great mentors to us, really guiding us on how to do this. This is very much a UK sport, not so much an American sport, but as the years pass, there's more and more American teams, so they've been great for us.
Right, and so when we look at this boat, I mean, it's not like your typical rowboat or something that you're going to, or canoe or kayak that you're going to take across the Atlantic Ocean, for heaven's sakes, but this has got some special tools on it, but still, the fact remains you're rowing across the ocean. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's specially designed for the ocean. There's two cabins on either side, one for sleeping, one for storage. We got the rowing platforms in between there, and they're, like I said, they're specially designed. So if we catch bad weather, hit a storm, or take a rogue wave from the side, if we flip over, it's designed to self-right. So if we flip and we roll, we're tethered to the boat. We'll roll with it, but it'll pop back up. So,
right. And it doesn't look very big, though, for four guys or gals or whoever is going to be on your team going across the ocean, but close quarters.
Yeah, it's about 26 feet long, 5 to 6 feet wide. So yeah, absolutely. It's very small. You got to like the people you're rowing with. So
right.
It's definitely small and cramped, but.
And we can see some solar panels on it, so again, you've got some electricity to power radios and things like that, but there's no motors, no engines on this craft.
Right, yep, there's no motors, it's powered by rowing, but the solar panels, you charge the batteries, which, for our GPS, our water maker, things of that nature. So,
Right, because this is about a 3,000-mile trip.
Right.
And so you're expecting to be at sea for a month?
Yeah. The world record's 29 days to get across. Of course, there's a lot of dependent on that, whether that be physical training, the weather. But we anticipate it taking us between 30 and 40 days. I mean, to beat the record, Matt would like to do it in 24 days.
Of course.
So, but
Right.
there's a lot of things that are dependent on that. But I think we'll get it done between 30 and 40 days.
And so this challenge, this race is done every year, right? And so I think there are maybe 7 teams signed up for the 2022 race from what I was checking on the website earlier.
Yep. Every year, it's every year. So they usually get up to about 30 teams that do this.
I see.
And like I said, it's not a real big American sport, but there are American teams that have done it.
Sure, but then there are singles that are going to do this, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. There's solo rowers that'll do this. And
More power to them.
Yeah, I think that's where I draw the line. So
Right.
I need somebody there to keep me motivated and run off the sleep monkeys, because I imagine being on the oars by yourself, you just get real tired and you just fall asleep.
That's what I would think, that's for sure. Matt, you were talking to me that you all have the same rowing machines, all of you on the team, right? You're all kind of starting some training now?
Right, we're just building into it. We all have the exact same machine. If you train the same, you row the same. So that's where we're at.
That's the idea. Very, very good. And so is 4 about the max size of a team they allow on this challenge, Jarrod? Is that about as big as you can get?
Right. Yep. That's the biggest. They'll do solo, pair, and trios, and then of course the 4-man team.
Right. Very
Four-man
good.
teams. The 4-man team is the most prevalent. There's more 4-man teams than the other ones. So.
Right. And you mentioned when we were talking about the boat that you're all going to be tethered to the craft. Is that at all times, I guess?
Yeah. So
pretty much.
Well, when you're rowing, so when you're on the rowing platform, you'll be tethered to
Which is
it.
kind of outside.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the guys inside that are eating, sleeping, and doing what they're doing, they won't have to be tethered. But
Gotcha.
We'll take a 2-hour on, 2-hour off approach to this. So while 2 of us are rowing, the other 2 are, like I said, sleeping, getting their meals ready, and we'll just switch back and forth. 2 hours on, 2 hours off. We'll do that 24 hours a day until we get into Antigua. So.
Gotcha. So the most I can sleep is 6 hours,
Right.
if my math is right.
12.
12.
Right. So there'll be 2 of us.
I see.
There'll be 2 of us rowing for 2 hours a day, and we'll just switch
Okay.
back and forth. So, but
Gotcha.
it's all, it's at 2-hour increments. So,
Right.
So it's not a solid 12 hours. So.
Right. Not that I'm signing up to be the
Well,
4th person on
we
your
need
team.
a 4th person. So.
I understand you do, but I think I want to try to contribute, and I don't think that's going to work for me. But anyway, I do want to show a video of that's been put together from a previous challenge about some of the conditions when you're out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, everybody. So let's take a look at this video real quick this morning.
Seeing the currents swell, the hell that's coming their way, I felt very scared.
Waves are against you. Everything seems to be against you.
Last few days have been...
It's a challenge to the truest extent.
You chose to step over your ego and give it all.
Chose to row. The rowers comes from all walks of life. What they have in common is determination.
Seeing where we were made us row harder. Never underestimate the size of an ocean.
Each arrival is very emotional. You also can see the change in their eyes.
It felt like we landed from the moon.
You hardest guys. This is unbelievable.
All our teams are champions.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Little bit of conditions out there on the Atlantic Ocean with my guest this morning from Guardian Initiatives talking about their upcoming trip across the Atlantic Ocean in 2022. And so we're watching that video about you had 3 maybe rowers at a time, and that's by design as well. The boat can accommodate that from time to time.
Yeah. So I imagine when we take off, we'd start with 3 rowers, and that's by design, just because I don't know that the other two would just go into the cabin and fall asleep as soon as we take off. There'd be so much adrenaline and
Sure.
stuff, so we'd put a
Right.
third rower on. And then the same thing when we're coming towards the end, when we can see land, we'll put a third rower on. Nobody's going to be sleeping during that time. They'll be so excited to get off the water. So yeah, we'll probably have 3 rowers at that time.
Very good. And I would think everybody has to yell Antigua when
Right,
when
absolutely.
when you see the land
Yeah,
when you're
absolutely.
coming up there. So there you go. And we were talking too before we came on the air this morning about the route, because the specific part of the Atlantic Ocean, and of course the winds are kind of helping you to get back across and those types of things. And leaving in December 2022, that will be your launch date, right?
Right. Yep. It'd be mid-December, and yeah, the weather's a little bit more tame during that time. Of course, there is storms that could happen. There are hurricanes that could occur, but the weather is a little bit more tame at that time of the year. So.
Right. And you're certainly not in the North Atlantic, which would
Right.
be even colder and
Right.
more maybe treacherous, I suppose.
Right. Yep.
But this is done every year, as you mentioned, and so there's going to be crews that are going to be leaving this December and
Yep.
December 2021, and then your turn.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's how it works. Matt Basinger, let me turn to you again about joining this team and preparing for this. And so this is going to be a month or so away from home, and putting yourself on the line and dealing with the elements and all the things we saw in that video.
Right. That's I'm used to leaving home for a little bit, so I've gone overseas a few times.
Right.
So that part of it I'm kind of used to. I've never rowed a boat across the ocean before. I don't think any of us have.
Probably a first for all of you, I would
Right,
say. That's
right.
probably true.
But really something that I'm looking forward to. I think it brings awareness. It really helps. How does this correlate, right? Why do we do this? To me, it correlates with when you're out there, if you're having some mental health issues, there is no escape from it until you get help. And that's when we're out there rowing and there's no land in sight, and we try and sleep for 2 hours, we get back on and row for 2 hours. That's it. There's no escape. And that's how I directly correlate this to what we're trying to raise awareness for.
Yeah, that's true. And let me ask you a bit about that, both of you, about this this charity that you are raising money for, and the efforts about raising money for these first responders and for help, because we don't always think about our police, our firefighters, our dispatchers. I mean, it's all these folks that we're talking about, right, who deal with these life and death issues every day, these other issues every day. Now they're dealing with a global pandemic every day, and a lot of them, I think, maybe just push through, and it's hard maybe sometimes for them to admit that they maybe need to take a break or get some help, and this is all part of what we're talking about, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, this whole thing is to raise awareness and funding for our first responders here locally. And like you said, Scott, it's not just police, but fire, EMS, dispatch. Dispatch, I think, is often not spoken about, but think about those folks that are taking that initial call, hearing all this stuff unfold, and there's nothing they can do about it. And so other than direct us to get there, but
Sure.
it's really so they're kind of forgotten about it, I think, in a large way. But
And they don't always know how these calls turn out,
Yeah,
right? Because
absolutely.
once you guys are at scene, they're basically
Absolutely.
done with the call,
Absolutely.
even though it continues with the people that are on scene.
yeah, exactly right.
So it's important. And so again, this is a great effort, and again, folks can help out, and really going to the website is the best way to do that, right?
Yeah, we're on our website's www.guardianinitiatives.org. We're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram, Twitter. We're on
All of them,
all the platforms.
right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. But that's where you can go. And again, the website gives you information about just making a one-time donation, signing up as a sponsor, doing some of these other things, a way to support your team as you get moving, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
And so there's 3 of you that are announced, but there's a 4th. You have a 4th opening, right, on your
Absolutely.
on your squad, on your
Yeah,
team. So
yeah.
how's that going?
Well, it's I honestly, I thought we would add our 4th by this time, but I get why we don't. This is not. It's hard to row across the Atlantic Ocean, prepare for that when we're in New Mexico, right? And so,
Right.
We're hoping
Navajo
to have,
Lake isn't quite the same.
right? Yeah. Although we'll do a lot of our training there, you're exactly right. It's not
Right. Even on its windiest day, you probably really can't compete with the Atlantic. But
right. Yeah. So we're hoping to have our 4th team member by the end of this year. It's got to be a right fit for us to be on a boat for that long in such cramped quarters. So it's got to be right fit for us, got to be right fit for them. But we've approached people; they're very interested. Their wives, not so much.
Right.
And people have approached us that we're just not so much for us. So we'll get there, and I imagine by the end of the year we'll have our fourth.
Very good. And you guys have been traveling around to, again, get the word out, because you are in a kind of fundraising mode right now to raise the money to be able to get the equipment that you need, and then also then, in addition to that, the extra funds to help these first responders. And that's kind of where you are right now.
Yeah, we're in, COVID kind of screwed everything up for us, but we've again started going out in the area and trying to raise a bunch of support and awareness and funding for this, and the community has been great. We just did a presentation for San Juan County 100 Women Who Care, and that was huge for us. We appreciate those ladies, and but just the people.
And they gave you a check.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was great, and we really appreciate that. But that's not the only instance. There's a ton of people in our community that have supported us in a large way. Pat and Rita Manchester with Farmers Insurance have been huge to us. So it's just we've been really blessed with our community.
And
that's
our
great.
employer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. San Juan County is absolutely on board with this. Like Matt said, it's where the sheriff has agreed to let Mark and I, because we're with the SO,
right,
has agreed to let us go for that long. And of course, we're using our own vacation time, but we're both administrators, and to be gone that long can be difficult, a strain on the SO. But Sheriff Ferrari has recognized the need for this, and kind of the same thing with Matt and his.
Right. So, Director of Public Works is allowing me. He said he'll step up and do some extra detail while I'm gone, and the CEO is also, obviously I'm going to have to use my own time there, but they've been 100% supportive of this. So
that's great, because I know a lot of employers are probably going to be saying, "Well, if you want to take some vacation, that's fine." But then when you're taking maybe 3-4 weeks in a row, that becomes a little different situation.
Right.
And that's what you both are talking about.
Yeah.
So folks that want to get involved, the website is the best place to go, right? To donate?
Yeah, absolutely. guardianinitiatives.org. We've got a lot more information on there. We've got some stats on there, just for instance, line of duty deaths and in our country for police officers is 134. 134 police officers have died in line of duty, but there's been 228 suicides in our country. That's just police officers, and they estimate that as about a 50% reporting. So, the suicides are huge right now, especially with the pandemic and the defund the police, all that stuff going on. But it's not just on the police front. The firefighters are going through this, EMS is going through this, and dispatchers are going through this. So, but yeah, it's a really sad thing, and something that we believe we can contribute to the end of some of these suicides in our community. Well, not necessarily in our community, but in the U.S.
Well, sure. And raise awareness of the problem, because, again, I don't think a lot of folks think about our folks who we rely on in our most difficult moments, that they may be having difficult moments, too.
Yeah, we're the police, right? You call us for help.
Yeah.
It's unusual to think that we need help, but that's absolutely true.
These numbers show that they do sometimes, and
Absolutely.
so that's great. And so the money that you raise will be going into help pay for some of these services for these individuals, for our first responders to reach out to and let them know that there's help available, and so they don't have to worry about having to pay for it necessarily or things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. A bunch of different fronts here. One, there's the awareness of this whole deal. There's a huge stigma surrounding first responder mental wellness. I think we've made strides, but we're not quite where we need to be, especially with those numbers. So,
well, even everybody's mental health, it's a hard topic to talk about. So I can only imagine in the first responder world how difficult that might be.
Absolutely. So yeah, just the awareness, breaking the stigma, letting people know that it's okay not to be okay, and then from there we like I said earlier, COVID kind of dampened all this for us, but we had plans of having a trainer out of California come in and talk to all of our first responders, and that's something Guardian Initiatives was gonna fund, and put on a training for our local first responders. And there's over 1,000 first responders in our area, and I'm certain that we have some here locally that are suffering. So, so that would be our efforts there, bringing training in for our first responders, and also setting aside funding for retreats that our first responders can go to if they need to get away and kind of reset the batteries. We've partnered with a group out of California called First Responder Support Network, and we've been in talks with them, and they've agreed to set money aside for us that would go to our first responders should they need to go to this retreat.
Nice. Very good. And again, to be clear, Guardian Initiatives is a local organization, and it's going to remain even after your trip. Your goal is to keep doing this and to keep raising money and to maybe keep putting together teams for this race, for this challenge.
Absolutely, yeah. It's, Guardian Initiatives. Everything we do, we claim it's an initiative, and our first one being rowing the Atlantic Ocean. But yeah, we're a nonprofit here in Farmington, a 501c3, and all that. And yeah, this is going to be a perpetual thing. After Matt and I row, and Mark and our fourth, after we row, there's a team that's already forming behind us that are going to row after us. So the equipment, everything we have, the large part of that cost, we wouldn't feel that cost next year or the year after we row, just because we'd have it all. And that team, like I said, it should be a perpetual thing, and
right,
we'll just keep rowing.
And the boat, I guess, would be one of those things you wouldn't have to get a new boat every year,
right.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
keep it and use it, at least it has a few years of life
right.
in it,
yeah,
and things along this line. And the challenge, again, has been going on for a while, and attracts teams from all over the world, you were telling me, and usually about maybe 30 teams are taking part in this?
Yeah, yep, it's all over the world. Teams come from, and it's about 30. I think one year they were up to like 36 different teams, and everybody's rowing for a cause and a charity. Nobody's just doing it just for fun, right?
Right.
So everybody's raising money for their individual charity, and so ours is first responder mental wellness.
Exactly. Well, very good. Well, much good luck to you, Matt. Good luck to you, and to the rest of the team as well. And as you find your fourth, hopefully you'll come back and talk to us a little bit as we get a little closer.
Absolutely.
So,
thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. It is Guardian Initiatives, everybody. And again, the website, guardianinitiatives.org. It is the team, and they are going to be taking on the Atlantic Ocean, leaving in December of 2022 and arriving in Antigua about 30 days later, more or less. But that is what's going on here to raise money, again, for mental health for our first responders. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody. I'm Scott Micklin, and this is KSJE.